The Brian and Kenzie Show.
On Q101.
It's Brian and Kenzie on Q101 in time for Kenzie's Krimes, where Kenzie picks a crime from the Illinois-Chicago area, and me and Case know nothing about it. She's going to lay it out. Maybe we know something about it. Maybe we've never heard about it. We're all in this together, sitting around the campfire, listening to Kenzie tell a story about crime.
Ooh, it's like Are You Afraid of the Dark, Nickelodeon.
It's exactly like that.
I love that show. Very fun.
That's exactly what it's like.
It's just a good time.
Yeah. So let's go. Give it to us,
Well,
Kenzie.
I don't know if you've ever heard of Belle Gunness. We're going to call her Belle for most of the story.
So Belle and the last one's Gunness?
Gunness. Gunness.
How you spell it?
Gunness. Gunness.
I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't think it's hitting me with anything, so this is good.
Well, she garnered the nickname Hell's Belle.
I love that.
Sounds feisty.
It is feisty. So life is obviously very challenging when you're immigrating to a new country. I'm sure we have a lot of listeners who can associate with that, or their parents can associate with that. And it's especially difficult for a female. So Belle Gunness was born in Norway, November 11th, 1859.
Ooh, we're going back on this one.
Went back, baby. She was the daughter of a stonemason, which you can already tell the story is old. You don't meet many stonemasons anymore, right?
I wonder how many there are around.
It's not like a common, like, what do you do? I'm a stonemason?
Yeah.
It's very Renaissance. I didn't know. I only know what a stonemason is because of Game of Thrones, to be perfectly honest. So I was shocked.
That's true. I've never met a stonemason in person.
No.
But what a skill, by the way.
I absolutely very talented man, her father. Anyways, and she immigrated. Not the moral of the story. She immigrated to the United States in 1881 at the age of 21 in search of wealth and a better life, as a lot of immigrants do, right? So the mayhem starts right here in Chicago in 1886. Belle had found love and married her first husband, Mads Sorensen.
His name's Mad?
Mads, M-A-D-S.
Oh, okay.
You know, he's like Mad Dog.
Yeah.
Mads.
Yo,
It's actually a very good athletic name, like Mads Sorensen. Like, that sounds kind of cool, doesn't it?
Sounds like a linebacker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it sounds...
Mad Sorensen with the tackle.
It sounds badass.
Yeah, it
It
does.
does. I can't lie. So good pick right off the bat. Way to go, Belle. They owned a candy shop, which is fun. Which they wanted to work hard. They wanted to see the benefits of a successful business. Unfortunately, their local business was failing. But bad luck turned to good when the business burned down mysteriously. And they were... I don't know why it's funny.
You said it so cheerfully.
Because you didn't let me finish my sentence. Because they were able to buy a new home in Austin, Illinois with the insurance money.
Okay. They had insurance in the 1860s, huh?
Yeah, in candy shops. You gotta. It's big money.
That's a great point, Brian. I would have thought insurance started in like the 1960s.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, stonemasons definitely needed it.
No, they needed health insurance and cut off their hands.
Yeah, what if the stone broke? What are you gonna do? Find a new one? They're tough. Anyways. Things seem to be looking up for the couple. They bought this new home. Like, okay, their failing business is gone mysteriously. And they decided to foster children in this new home that they bought. Unfortunately, not long into fostering children, they lost two of the children.
Oh.
Both Caroline and Axel supposedly died of acute colitis, I believe is how you pronounce it. Don't come for me. You guys know I can't pronounce things well. Colitis, which ironically has the exact same symptoms of being poisoned. In case you're wondering.
I didn't know that.
Now, Mads Sorensen and her husband.
The guy's name is awesome.
It is a really good name. Mads Sorensen, her husband, had a life insurance policy, but Belle insisted that it was much too small. I mean, if you look at all that they had been through, I can't blame her. Kind of being smart. Okay, let's take out a higher life insurance policy. She obviously doesn't have good luck, right? So in an almost unbelievable coincidence, Mads, her husband, died on the same day the new larger policy took place.
Huh.
Belle collected $8,000 off the life insurance policy, but I mean, no amount can replace a husband, right, that you loved. No? Okay. After so much tragedy, Belle took her remaining 3 foster children and used this insurance money to buy a farm in LaPorte, Indiana. So Belle, Jenny, Myrtle, and Lucy moved to LaPorte. Why is that funny?
Myrtle.
It's the all name squad here.
It's like an all-star team.
1800s. Oh, actually, they moved in 1901. But okay.
Okay.
In November 1901. So in April of 1902, Belle found love and married once again to Peter Gunness in LaPorte. That's where she got this last name. Okay. Now, his wife had recently died and left him with 2 young daughters. So what seemed to be the beginning of a beautiful blended family quickly turned to devastation.
Oh, boy.
I'm going to pause right there.
Oh, God. All right. So we'll come back, continue the story of the all-name squad of people, and a lot of death already, too.
She has lost a business, a husband, and 2 foster children.
Yeah.
And we're a minute and a half in.
Damn.
I thought I was having a tough week.
Things don't work out for Belle.
All right, so when we come back, the story continues here in Kenzie's Crimes and see what happens with this whole blended family. Something tells me something good's not coming.
They lived happily ever after.
Did you come back and say that?
End
That's it?
End of the crime.
It's Brian and Kenzie on Q101.
Brian and Kenzie in the morning. And Chicago's alternative all day.
Q101.
It's Brian and Kenzie on Q101. Kenzie's Crimes, where we've been left off with a real cliffhanger of some tragedy that happened, but it seemed like there could be a happy ending. I'm leaning toward the tragedy more coming.
Now, okay, so quick recap in case you're just joining us, because I don't want you to miss out and feel behind. So Belle Gunness immigrated from Norway when she was 21. She met a man, fell in love with him. They had a candy business here in Chicago. It burned down, and they were able to collect the insurance money, buy a new home in Austin, which is great. Austin, Illinois, by the way. Not Texas. This is here. Keeping it local, baby. They just started fostering children. 2 of her foster children passed away, and then she took out a larger life insurance policy on her husband, and he passed away.
Yeah.
So now she's taken that life insurance money and her remaining 3 foster children and just moved to LaPorte, Indiana. She bought a farm.
Yeah. How old are the kids at this point? You think they probably don't have that information?
I do not have all of their ages. They were younger children, like kind of in a 10-ish range, because she had them for a few years at this point.
I would just say my brothers and sisters, and then my dad. I'm getting out of here. I ain't going to this farm in Indiana.
Well, they're foster children, Brian. So what do you?
I'd rather
this
just.
is kind of a bad end of the stick for them.
I
This
understand.
is super sad.
I'm just saying that I want to get out of this foster situation, get into another one fast.
I'd like to request a trade.
Not good.
Because something tells me whatever you're going to say next is not going to be good.
So she moves to LaPorte, Indiana. Within a year, she finds love once again and marries Peter Gunness. Okay,
sounds pretty good.
Now, his wife had recently passed away and left him with 2 young daughters. So what seemed to be the beginning of a beautiful blended family. This would be 5 daughters, 2 parents who have found love again. The youngest daughter that he had died within a week of his marriage to Belle.
What?
Peter died under suspicious circumstances 8 months later.
Oh, my God.
Belle told the authorities that Peter was accidentally hit in the back of the head by a sausage grinder.
I mean, if I had a nickel.
I mean, wait, how big is a sausage grinder?
Oh, man.
I mean,
I've heard mine's pretty average, but you tell me.
6 inches.
wait, you can't even pick these things up, right? They're really heavy.
Well, if it fell, like an anvil in a cartoon.
One grand piano.
A coyote dropped it.
Yeah, the Acme Sausage Grinder Company and Wile E. Coyote was there.
Listen, I'm not there. I was not there.
I understand.
Maybe he did get hit in the head by a sausage grinder.
And they probably bought it back then. Like they probably just said, yeah, that's what happened.
If they had a nickel for every time there's a sausage grinder incident, okay, this is probably a lot more common.
Yeah.
These things are expensive.
You know how people are like, I don't want to know how the sausage is made? This is why. It was dangerous and scary. Okay?
That's right.
Okay, so soon after Peter's death, Belle began submitting ads to 3 weekly Norwegian language newspapers throughout the Midwest. Now, one thing about Belle is this girl takes no days off, okay? She's out here working again. Now, these ads were asking for a good, reliable man to become a partner in her farm. It is unknown how many men actually corresponded with her, but there were many men who could not resist the invitations. Like, this is a great offer, right, to become a partner in a huge, already successful farm. So, a lot came to LaPorte to visit Belle, and one of the visitors was Andrew Helgelian. He's Norwegian. God, these names are just killing me today.
Yeah.
No pun intended. But okay. Andrew Helgelian, a Norwegian farmer from South Dakota. Now, Belle had hired several men to help work on the farm with her. And one of them was Ray Lampier. Okay, he was hired August 1907. Ray had hoped to marry Belle. He fell in love with her and become a partner in the farm. So in January, that is when Andrew Helgelian came to LaPorte to visit Belle for a couple of weeks. And Ray became extremely jealous of Andrew. After 2 weeks, Belle and Andrew had money sent from his bank account in Aberdeen, South Dakota, to the First National Bank in LaPorte. Andrew and Belle went to cash the check, and even though the bank and Andrew both suggested she keep some of the money in the bank for safety, Belle took it all out in cash.
Shocking.
Andrew was gone the next day.
Oh, that's too bad.
When he did not return home to South Dakota, Andrew's brother, Asle, I believe.
Spell that for me.
Asle. So close to aisle, but no eyes. I don't know.
A asshole.
Asshole.
Yeah, asshole. Yeah, asshole. That's asshole. Yeah, that's asshole.
Okay. He became concerned, rightfully so. Asshole was worried, and after finding letters, he found letters that had been going on between Andrew and Belle. So he wrote Belle and the bank asking if they had seen Andrew. The bank confirmed that he had been there, and Belle said that he had left already. Meanwhile,
Belle's like, oh, I don't know. He gone.
Hit
Hit him with the Jordan shrug. I don't know.
What are you going to do? Meanwhile, she's like, this is your wagon, your problem. I don't know what happened. Meanwhile, Belle had fired Ray. Now, that was the man who was in love and jealous. She fired him in February for trespassing on her farm. I don't know. He worked there, so I don't really get how he trespassed.
Yeah, that's weird.
She then hired Joe Maxon. That was her new farmhand. So Asle was still writing to Belle, inquiring about the brother, like asking more and more questions. And then Belle decided to kind of get her affairs in order out of nowhere with an attorney with her will, okay? The next morning, in April 28th, so kind of close to the one-year anniversary, 1908, 4 a.m., Joe Maxon woke up to the smell of smoke and tried to wake Belle and the rest of the family up because the house was on fire.
Wow.
He was unsuccessful, which is confusing to me. I don't know how hard it is to wake people up. Like, he was unsuccessful in waking up everyone, which there was a lot of, like, that's like 4 people. None of them woke up.
Like, hey, let's get out of here.
So,
Well, he did it like that. That's why he failed.
I don't know. I find that confusing. So
Maybe he just ran?
Well, he was trying to wake him up. Now, listen, he hurried to LaPorte to go to the fire station, like to downtown, right? And they came out and put the fire out, but that afternoon, like the house was in rubbles, they found the bodies of the family in ruins in the basement.
Whoa.
Now, mysteriously, the bodies of the 3 children were discovered next to a woman's body that was missing a head.
Ugh.
So Asle, which doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Okay. Asle came from South Dakota. This is Andrew's brother, right? Who was all worried about him. Came from South Dakota to LaPorte, hoping to learn something about his missing brother, Andrew. Now, after not finding any clues in the ruins of the fire, he connected with Joe Maxon, who is the new farmhand.
Yeah, the trespasser.
No, the trespasser was Ray.
Oh, that's right. My bad.
Who was in love with her. Joe was new.
Got it.
Joe and Asle, Joe's new. No, Joe is new to the schemes, okay? I think Joe is a very innocent man. Joe and Asle began digging on the farm in an area where Joe and Belle had buried garbage in March.
Okay.
They discovered the body of Andrew in a gunny sack.
Oh, God.
Yeah. Now, the LaPorte County Sheriff and crew continued to dig for several days. They discovered 13 bodies. They dug up 13 bodies. This is not including the 4 in the home that were burned, okay? 13 bodies. Now, unfortunately, because of the missing head, they could not tell, they could not identify if Belle had died. So many believe to this day, over 100 years later, that Belle escaped, and who knows who the unlucky woman's body double was.
No freaking way.
So she murdered all of these people. Ray was arrested and charged with murder and arson, but only convicted of arson. So he was the one who started the fire on the house. Now, it's also unknown if he started that fire because he was jealous or to help Belle, because it seems like he was kind of her partner in the scheme of all this. She probably ditched out. She doesn't care about anybody.
Or she let him on because he was in love with her.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So she ditched out. So he started the fire and probably helped her move the bodies, as well as the decapitated woman. Who knows who that is?
Yeah, and it's interesting he lived. Like she let him go.
Well, he was helping a lot. She also let him go to prison for arson.
Well, yeah, then she just bailed and never saw her again. So she figured he could be left behind.
She's never been seen again.
No way.
And they were unable to identify the body.
Oh, no.
Isn't that insanity? So she gained the nickname Hell's Belle.
And AC/DC wrote a song about
and then
it.
AC/DC wrote a song about it. I was just going to say that. It's about her.
Oh, my gosh.
I was blown away by this because also with her history with poison, obviously, I believe she was obviously faking not being able to wake up. I wonder if the other girls were poisoned or used something because the other farmhand was not able to wake up anybody in the house.
Yeah.
So I feel like she'd already done something to them.
Yeah.
Now, that's just my hypothesis, but it seems accurate because she would have had to do something so that they wouldn't have woken up and run out of the house. Right?
Right.
So,
jeez, I've never heard this story before, and it's unbelievable.
Yes, there's a lot of nicknames about her, but really probably one of the first women serial killers ever.
Jeez.
That's her story. She did that. Girl power.
Yeah, Women's History Month. Too bad we're past it.
Wow, what a story. What a story for Kenzie's Crimes.
Thank you. I didn't do the crime.
No, you didn't do it.
I just looked it up. A lot of hard work over here.
Yeah.
Belle really put in the effort. That's who did it.
She's a worker. She's a hustler.
She's a hustler. I love, even Kelly texted and was like, oh my gosh, this is the story I recommended. If there's a story that you want me to do a deep dive on because you do love it and you think it would be good, I try to keep it as local as possible, kind of Chicagoland, but we do like Wisconsin, Iowa, all that action. Or if there's a story that you just want to hear more of, say you like, I think I've heard of this person, but I don't know the story behind it. Feel free. You can always hit us up on that text line because I like to go off what the listeners want to hear. So
yeah, and that was one of them.
Yeah,
by
it
Kelly.
was Kelly recommended that one.
And if you just caught the end of it, remember it's at the podcast, the Brian and Kenzie podcast at Q101.com, and anywhere you get your podcast, it'll be up there shortly. Spotify and Apple, wherever you get your podcast.
The Brian and Kenzie Show.
On Q101.